Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Just getting a little workout in before I do the video. Ah, if you thought I wasn't gonna do the working out bit on the day that I didn't feel like wearing a t-shirt, you're delusional. Obviously, I'm gonna do the douchey workout thing. Good God, I have to shave. It has been a month. September has been a whole thing. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Full Blast. I'm your host, Roger Burrows, and as you can see, I'm mixing it up a little bit. I got a standing desk. You can actually see the box for the stand. I haven't decided if I like it. This is a whole separate video, but I realized that I can't sit for too long, and I like standing up. I think the standing desk, it's a different energy. It's definitely like doing these blaster videos. I definitely feel a lot more of that intense play energy. So we'll see how this goes. I figured I would try it for this because I have really been processing this whole ExxJIP thing. So I had a call yesterday with our good buddy Dave. Fucking love that guy. And it was a really interesting conversation because, like, when I had set it up, I wasn't sure, like, just because of the way that they book their phone calls, it's so far out. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Is this even going to be, am I even going to want to talk to him a month from now? Like, what are we going to talk about? And for most of September was totally fine. And then the last 2 weeks have just been like super intense, crazy decider bullshit. And what I was bringing it up to him is I was like, here's what's weird. So, like, I'm blast play. I'm gonna have EJ syndrome from time to time. But usually what happens is when you are an observer like me, you will have a decider issue for a second, and then you'll be like, oh God, get straight in your collar. Like, you'll have a decider issue for a second, and then you'll just move on because you're generally able to sort of see both sides of the decider coin, be like, well, you're right. Like, you said some things that I thought were out of line. Then I responded in a way that was also out of line. I apologize. I fucked up. Let's see if we can work through this. And again, in one particular case, it was like, you know what? This is not a good fit. We just need to go our separate ways. Cool, fine, va ben, whatever, right? But generally speaking, the double deciders won't get stuck when it comes to people and decisions that often. Sometimes, sure, but usually it only lasts for a second. We can usually work through it. And usually the reason it'll end up happening, that we can get through it, is that we'll have our one decider that's the savior that usually wins. And then the other decider will be like, meh, it's fine. I get some of the things some of the time. He gets some of the things some of the time. It's fine. It all sort of balances out. Whereas the EJs and IPs will be like single decider at the top of the stack, and then the other decider just like sucking at the bottom. And then eventually the bottom decider will like, time to revolt. And it's like super intense. And you're like, whoa, that's weird. And again, you'll have these massive swings. And that's kind of the headspace I was in these past couple of weeks. It's just been just a lot of just like weird decider bullshit that I'm, for some reason, maybe it's just because I have the bandwidth, because I've been working on my observers enough that the decider issues are able to emerge. I'm not totally sure what it is. All I know is that in like 7 different instances, there was just like decider drama happening. And here's what was weird. It's not that I'm immune to decider drama, and it's not that like, oh, I never have decider issues, or you know, that's not the issue. Of course I have decider problems because I'm a human and humans are deciders fundamentally, right? There's that whole thing. But these past 2 weeks, I just haven't been able to frame it as anything but a decider issue, which for me, as somebody who is a double decider, that's actually a very good sign. Like, if you can get, like, the fact that I was stuck there, I was like, oh, what that means is it means that I'm actually working through something that needs to be worked through, and that it's like it's a new problem. It's not just my same old default wiring, because in the past what would have happened is I would have found some way to like turn it into some observer issue and like make it about controlling, right? Here's just like tiny example would be like, I did this voiceover class and it was a bad fit, didn't work out. But the whole interaction from like me complaining and then yelling at the person and then having to talk to the boss, and then she reprimanded me and then she had to give me a refund and I was really pissed and they were pissed. It was just like what you would quintessentially imagine a decider going through. Whereas historically I would have been like, no. The people are fine. The people are whatever. It's the chaos. It's the chaos. It's that the organization is bad and that it's too chaotic and I don't know what to expect, or it's already what I know. Like, it would be a missing information problem. And that just wasn't happening. It was all about this person's an asshole and I'm being an asshole and I hate them and they hate me and we're in a fight and this person and that person, and why can't that person be more like that other person, because that other person is amazing and gives me everything that I want and isn't an asshole, but this person is a super asshole. I was like, wait, Raja, what is happening? What is going on? And so I thought I would use this opportunity to talk about, like, now I feel like I have such a visceral understanding of the decider coin that I'm like, oh, this is what deciders are doing all day long. Whether it's, EJ or IP, it's some version of this. And in one of the videos a while back, they talked about for deciders, the people are the story. For observers, the people are in the story. So I think that Game of Thrones is actually a really good way to look at both the observer and the decider coin. Again, it's wildly popular. It's a cross-cultural phenomenon, whatever. And I think the part of that is because whether you are an observer or a decider, you can be fully invested in Game of Thrones, right? So the observer, they would be anecdotally more about like, ooh, here's all of the like the things and the factions and the kingdoms and the world building and the environment, and yes, there would be people involved, and of course like Cersei doing things or Daenerys doing things is, yeah, okay, sure, and the people are competing for the Iron Throne, but it's the throne that matters. It's the thing. And like, again, they would probably be very into Littlefinger, right? I think he's the eunuch. Is Littlefinger the eunuch? I don't know. I didn't actually watch Game of Thrones. Haha. But like the one who's like the information broker, and like they would be very into like the thing aspects of the Game of Thrones universe. Whereas the deciders would be more about like, no. The story is about Jon Snow and Daenerys and Ned Stark and Cersei and Jaime and, Bobby Baratheon, and like all of those, the people are the story. Yeah, they all happen to be hanging out in, Westeros. I almost said Middle Earth. Whew, it's going well. But like, they're all hanging out there, but that's, no, that's not the point. The point is that Cersei is a bitch. That's the point. Side note, I fucking love Cersei. Weirdly, like my 3 favorite characters of so I read the first book, but like from what I know of Game of Thrones and what I read, like Cersei, Sansa, and Ned Stark are my 3 favorite Game of Thrones characters. I would like to say that my love of Sansa was vindicated in the end, but, you know, leave me a comment below telling me what you think of Sansa. Don't do that. Don't leave me a comment below telling me what you think of Sansa Stark. That's just opening up a whole ass can of worms. But that's what I'm saying, right? When I get into these decider swings, right? When I get into this real, like, true EJIP mode, it's impossible for my brain to look at any situation as being anything but the people, and like, these people are good and these people are bad and these people are better than this person, and so then I have to choose, like, if this person is better than this person, then they, like, are they both good, or like, because this person is better, then this person is now bad because they're not at the level of this person. And it's this weird, like, tribe ranking game that all of the deciders are playing basically all the time on autopilot. Now, the big difference between the EJs and the IPs is just the ratio of validation. So if we think of the decider issue as being about tribe validation, tribe connection, significance, right? Like me versus them, or me with them, like that is the key fundamental relationship. The EJs are going to go all the way to the level of, I need validation, approval, recognition, whatever, from everybody. They will go way too far trying to give a shit about everybody, right? And that's how they're going to burn out. They're going to be like, they will just be constantly giving from this cup that is nowhere near full, right? Like, it isn't just like, oh, I'm giving from a little bit of an empty cup. It's like my cup is dry. Like, I have no more energy to give. I have no more validation cookies that I can give out or try to solicit, but I'm still going to keep trying to do it because I am obligated to get everybody on the same team. And if I can't get everybody on the same team, then I need to play this second game of, well, my team, like, if we can't be on the same team, then my team is awesome and you guys can fucking burn in hell. Like, again, it gets really, really extreme with these decider issues because that's the game. It is the people game. It is the ranking game. And so that's where the EJs will go wrong. Is they will try to get approval from 99% of people, 100% of people, without even realizing that the majority of the people that they're trying to get approval from are not people worth getting approval from. That's the crazy thing, right? They don't have that clicker, like, or that limiter of being able to go, okay, I don't actually need 100% of people to like me. I don't even need 99% of people to like me. I need like 60% of people to like me. And that's what's really fucked up. I can sort of relate, not super as much in the EJ way, but certainly as like an academic, somebody who was like always did really well in school. I totally get that, like, percentage game of you, because here's the thing. You can tell me that I don't need to get 100. And I'm like, yep, that makes sense. Like, we don't need to get 100. Or even like getting a 98 or a 99 is not required. It's nice if it happens, but that's not the point, right? And I think that once you get past sort of like that initial burst of like, you're a gifted child, you're a smart kid, you can, like, you're like the precocious Matilda-y one who just likes to read and learn shit all the time, right? And was like really fucking obnoxious about it. Once you get past that stage, you sort of level out. You sort of get to the point where it's like, listen, what do I actually need in order to like feel like I understand the material, that I can get the good enough grades so that my transcript looks good so I can go to college, and like let's be realistic here. Like, what do I actually need? And that tends to be around like a 93, right? So, but here's the thing. When we're talking about our saviors and savior addiction, and like EJ's going way too far, telling an EJ, right, that they don't need to solicit, the opinion, whatever, or care about or get validation from 93% of people, they only need validation from like 60% of people. That's like telling the valedictorian, it's cool, you can just get straight D's and you're fine. And you're like, again, I was never valedictorian. I was never close to valedictorian. Because I never cared about getting hundreds. That just never, I just don't give a shit. But that was definitely something, like if you told me as like kid who's getting 91s to 93s, if you said to me, you know what, Raja, you don't have to do that. You can do anything you want in life, and you can just get, a D or a D plus. I would be like, that is wrong. That is wrong. And it like feels weird to me to give myself permission to get a D, because my whole identity and sense of self and like who am I as an academic and like what even is anything is so tied up in, or was, back when I was in school, was so tied up in, no, but I'm the smart kid. I'm the one who doesn't get D. Like I get A's and A minuses. Like that's my thing. Like that's what I do. And once I was able to frame it like that, I was like, oh shit, I'm kind of doing the same thing in my blast play, observer sort of way, because I'm like my bar, I'm like, you know what, 80-20. As long as 80% of the people are on board, like I can tell 20% of the people in the world to fuck off. But even that ratio is arguably too high. Like I really could get that down to like 60 and still be fine. And all it would require is letting go of this intense need for validation in a breadth kind of way. And like this like scattershot, who wants to love me sort of way, letting go of that and being really precise and directive and like, I really like you. I am going to put my energy, validation, whatever, into building this relationship or that relationship, and really like narrowing my field of view. The IPs have the opposite problem. The IPs, they're like, I only need the validation from 2 people. As long as these 2 people like me, the whole rest of the world can go fuck themselves. Again, not every IP is like this, but that's again, if we're thinking about this pure extreme version of it, right? That's the tendency of the IP, is to like find ways to make everyone else the bad guy who, controlling me, won't let me do my thing. They're stupid. I'm brilliant. So a really good example of this, I know this has come up in a bunch of classes, that I finally finished all 5 Rambo movies. The first one was very good. Not totally my jam, but like solid, like good film, right? Rambo First Blood Part 2, super fun, super fun. Rambo 3, surprisingly good. Like, I expected it to be like garbage, but it was very, very good. And Rambo 4 is probably my favorite. So fucking good. Which brings us to Rambo 5. Rambo Last Blood. This is actually the Rambo movie that that Dave and Shan like first started talking about. I don't actually know if they finished it yet, if they ever went back to it, if they give a shit. Because there was a scene halfway through that is like super fucking violent and intense. I liked it because I'm fucked in the head like that, and with my double masculine consume and double activated masculine sensory, I was like, yeah, fucking get him. But like, I recognize that I'm like, that's fucked up. That's terrible. That's gruesome. This is not good. But I bring up this last one because that's the one where you can really, really see the intense IP. I'm amazing. And the people that I have chosen are amazing and wonderful and perfect and must be protected at all costs. And everybody else in the world is out to get me. They're trying to fuck with me. They're awful. They need to be not just killed. They need to be, watch the last half hour. The last half hour of Rambo Last Blood, no context required. It's just fun. It's just the most gruesome. It's like Home Alone if Home Alone weren't a PG-rated movie. There's some shit in there that's like super nasty and gross, and like dudes getting their head blown off and like impaled and shit. It's fucking awesome. But then I think back to Home Alone and I'm like, wait, that's what we were doing in Home Alone too. Like, we absolutely took a blowtorch to Joe Pesci's head and he was just fine. Like, we hit Daniel Stern in the face with a paint can and watched him impale his foot on a nail in a PG-rated movie back in 1989 because that's just what you did, I guess. Anyway, I digress. But in this Rambo movie, like, you really get to see the super intense IP version of the Decider Axis, where if you want to watch the movie, watch it. It's not very good. It has some big, like, structural, just to get observery for a second, like, it has some very big structural problems, and like, there are some plot twists and things that happen that are only in there to elicit a manufactured emotional response, and it doesn't feel earned, and it's just, I don't know, it's not good from a structural, my inner nerdy IJ is like, that's not good. We can do better than this. But there is a particular character who dies, and it's so clear that the whole movie was built around this guy, is Rambo guy. He's doing the Sly Stallone thing, and he always talks like this. And there's one person in the world that he cares about, and and she dies, and it rips his fucking heart out. He can't even comprehend. He loves this person so much, and so he has to enact revenge and murder everybody in the most gruesome fucking way possible, because everybody else is the devil and they ruined this one. There was one human in the world, one human, one that I actually gave a shit about, and you took this person from me, and now you're gonna pay. Whew, that is the longest I've ever done a Stallone impression. Gotta work on that. But the point is you really get to see the driving energy of the movie is very much, again, it's Stallone. Stallone is always just gonna be some version of Stallone because he's Stallone. That's just what he does. right? You go to a Stallone movie, you know exactly what you are going to get. This motherfucker is lead sleep, sleep blast, doubling up on his savior feminine NI. He's just going to do the same fucking movie for 40 years in a row. There's no surprises, right? But the whole premise of this movie is, again, this is true for a lot of the Rambo movies. He just wants to be left alone. He just wants to like train his horses and make his little knives, and he just wants to like, he's retired, he just wants to do him. But then something always fucking happens where they, the mass of the tribe, won't, like, they start fucking with him, and like they don't let him, you know, do the things that he's trying to do. He's not trying to hurt anybody. He just wants to live his life and be like a peaceful, calm person. And again, in all of these movies, like whether it's, you know, Troutman, like his former colonel, who he like, that's his best friend, and in Rambo 3, like his best friend gets captured, and so he's like, okay, well, I have to go rescue my best friend because he's the one person in the world that matters to me, and so now I have to do it, right? And then in Rambo 4, he gets, you know, he's like, I'm done, I'm retired. But then the missionaries go in, and like he's in this monastery, and basically the whole impetus is he's like, well, these people are trying to do a good thing. Who am I if I don't help the tribe from, you know, being slaughtered in this like mass genocide? All right, I will do the thing to help the tribe, right? In this last one, it comes from a lot more of a savior state, where it's this one human that I actually like and give a shit about and care about is in trouble. And so, like, if there's one thing that's going to get me out of my shell and to keep me from just like dicking around with horses all day, it's to help this one person. All of that is to say, the IPs tend to go way too far and way too all in on like one person. They're like, this one human is amazing and everyone else is trash. And that's not correct. It's not how the world works. That's not that is just as unsustainable as trying to get validation from everybody. If you pour all of your emotional energy into getting validation from just one person or like two people, that is a lot of pressure on that person, right? But more importantly, on just a practical level, if that one person goes away, they're busy, they die, like if something happens to them and they are not able to be in that like peas in a pod relationship with you, you're kind of fucked, because you're like, oh my God, I put so much of my emotional energy into getting validation from this one person that, God, who am I without this other person? And you can see that actually in like basically any pop song. You know, Jules, You Were Meant for Me, beautiful song, right? Like all of these like pop song love songs, especially like the 90s folk typey songs, they are all very all in on like, you are the one human for me, and now that you are not in my life has just been torn apart and I am nothing. Also the name of a song. I have nothing if I don't have you, right? It's very much a decider game, right? And again, it's not that the EJs can't do that. They'll just do it in a demon state, right? So the EJs are going to be like, I'm trying to get validation from everybody, from everybody, from everybody, from everybody. You know what? Fuck all of you guys. I only need me and my best friend. Tell them. And they're like, I mean, we're buddies. This is my friend Raja. Like, no, like tell him. Like it's just you and me. It's just you and me against the world. Like, yeah, we're on a team. Like, we don't fuck them. We don't need them. Sure, I guess, right? And that's what will happen with the EJ but they'll just do that second, right? Where the IP will do that first, and their demon swing is going to be more about like they'll go so all in on one person or one small tribe or one small community, and then once or if that ever falls apart, then they're like, oh my God, you know what? Fuck you in particular. I don't need you. I have the entire world at my disposal. I'm going to find 10 million friends, and they're all going to be better than you because fuck you, right? Again, it's just a matter of what order you're doing it in if you are a decider. So obviously, I'm clowning around a little bit, but that's what the extreme ends of the bell curve look like. So if you are a decider, it can be very useful to just sort of know what side of the bell curve you're on, and then just sort of default to being like, I think I'm at like a 78, so I'm probably closer to an 85 or a 90, right? So like for me, because I'm blast play, I'm like, I think I'm at about like a 65, 70. No, I am not. I'm at a solid 80 to 85. I got to bring that back to where I think I need to be, right? So that's I think that can be very, very useful. And again, it's not that everybody's going to do all of these things. Everybody's going to do both. We all have an extroverted decider. We all have an introverted decider. It's just a matter of which one you're doing first. And where the savior addiction comes is when you do one of the things first and then just don't do the other, right? If you're like, I'm going to do this, oh my God, this is working so well. Why would I use this other tool if this one tool is working so well and getting me everything that I want, right? But what will end up happening is eventually, over however much time, something is going to happen. And if you don't have something else, if you don't have another tool to fall back on, you're going to be in big trouble. You're going to be in big, big trouble. So if you are a decider, I would strongly recommend certainly watch the double deciders. Watch the IJs and EPs. Watch a lot of, they talk about like Viners, like people who were on Vine, but people like Lily Singh is a good example. Julie Nolke is a really good example. They're both YouTubers. ProZD, he was a Viner. He's now a YouTuber. He's got a bunch of again, they're little short videos where he plays a bunch of the different characters. That tends to be, again, this is an anecdote, but that tends to be sort of an observery kind of thing where they're comfortable playing multiple characters and looking at things from multiple people's perspectives. So that can be a really, really useful guideline, right? Because what that'll do is it'll show you like all of these observers are doing one of the deciders first, right? So like John Krasinski, fucking love John Krasinski. So he's an INTJ. So he and I'm not going to call him a type twin, but he's blast, sleep, play, consume last, but he's an audio INTJ just like me. So we both have lead. We're both INTJs and both have lead, double feminine, NT blast. So like, I don't know. I'm gonna call him my brother, my my close cousin, if you will. He is a great example of, he is very clearly blast first. He has absolutely no problem whatsoever mixing it up with the tribe, communicating, getting the tribe to buy into his idea, to get the tribe to validate him for his whatever. No problem at all. He's got that shit on lockdown. But because he's blast sleep and not blast play like I am, he's going to swing back to his FI a lot faster. And so I think that if you watch John, you can really see that, like, dealing with the tribe, checking in with self, checking in with tribe, checking in with self. Like, he really does go back and forth pretty effortlessly. And actually, if you really want to see it in action, just watch The Office. Like, again, just because of the nature of television, John Krasinski's take on Jim Halpert is blast sleep, because that's what he is. The way the television works is you're not playing a character, you're living a character. You are bringing so much of who you are as a person to the character. So just watch Jim Halpert, and that is double deciding, because what you'll see in him is you'll see this, like, like with Jim, just this is probably a good note to finish up on. What's tricky about Jim, and what I think makes him really interesting, is that he's not bad at his job. He's kind of the only person in the office who is good at his job, right? Michael is debatably good at his job. Like, Michael is definitely better at his job than David Brent was at his job. Like, they definitely made him more competent. Like, Pam is pretty good at her job. I would say, like, Jim and Pam are the only two people who are actually good at their job. Ryan is not good at his job. Dwight, not good at his job. Kevin, not good at his job. Like, there's an entire office full of people who are not good at their job. Jim Halpert is not one of those people. Jim Halpert is very, very good at his job. But his Achilles heel is that he's so all in on his NI that he doesn't want to change anything. He's like, you know what? I am perfectly comfortable living in Scranton. I go to work every day. I flirt with the cute receptionist. I do the bare minimum amount of work, which, let's be clear, isn't that much because the bar is on the fucking ground. And then I go home. And then I come back to work and I flirt with the cute receptionist. And you can even see with Jim, like, he's so clear. Again, when you see, like, his cutaways of, like, yeah, I am very good at deferring to what other people want from me. But very, very quickly, if it does not then 40% of the time align with what I like and what is amusing to me, not doing it. Not doing it. He is very, very 60-40 when it comes to his deciders. So if you are a decider, whether you are FETI, TEFI, FITE, doesn't fucking matter, watch Jim. Watch Jim, because you can really see how truly seamlessly he goes back and forth between his deciders. And I like him as an example of this more than Tai Lopez, because Tai Lopez, he's so all, again, first off, Tai Lopez is a real person and not a fictional character. But Tai Lopez he's a really good example of somebody who is all in on his NI, and his deciders are just kind of like whatever. Like, you don't really see him struggling with his deciders. Whereas with Jim, because it is a TV show and it's Hollywood, you can really see the, like, oh, right. Yes, he is very good at doing his job and getting tribe validation. And he's also really good at, like, doing what he wants. Jim Halpert could very easily, again, it's been a minute since I've watched all of The Office, but like Jim could very, very easily be living in New York and like working for corporate. There's absolutely nothing keeping Jim from making massive career moves. And I think that if Jim were blast play, and certainly if he were like me, like a blast play, consume sleep, he probably would be moving up in the company a lot more. But that's just not him because he's so quick to swing back to his FI of like, I just want to do what I like to do. I like my routine. I like my sleep energy. I just want to do the thing. And then, of course, you know, the Jim and Pam romance is the best, and I love it. It's so sweet. But it's, again, like, he tries to date Karen, who's literally just, oh, like, she's such a clear replacement for Pam. And they even call it out. They're like, are you just trying to date another? Are you dating Karen because it didn't work out between you and Pam? Like, is that really what's going on? And then he comes back, and then they fall in love, and it's really sweet. But part of why he doesn't, like, broaden his horizons, not only is it his lead NI, but because he doesn't get stuck in one of his deciders for too long. Like, for somebody like Jim, both of his deciders have to be on board, and if they're not, he's not doing a goddamn thing. He's just not. So all of that is to say, if you're looking to balance your deciders, watch Jim Halpert on The Office, because you can really see how a true, intense double decider lives their life. Obviously in a somewhat contrived, fictitious, you know, Hollywood-esque way, but you can see and be like, yeah, I like 60% of the people at work. 40% of the people don't care. Meh, it's fine. Shrug, look off to the camera. Right, that's his whole thing. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I certainly enjoyed ranting about deciders and people. Humans are the best. I love people. People are so great. But also they can be very infuriating. And so I think it's really important, whether you are an observer or a decider, to be really cognizant of both of your deciders. Because once you can actually leverage both of them and not just like, well, one of them wins most of the time and the other one, right? Once you can really say, no. Let's both get on the same page about this, and let's actually find something that truly works for us and makes both parties happy. Now you're playing the decider game in a way that you can actually win. All right, that's all I got for today. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!